Hi, this is Rubat Khan, and this playlist is about object-oriented programming in Python. Today is lecture 1, where we are going to see what a class and an object is. So let's get started. Let's say you are asked to design a system to manage all 10,000 students in your university. Each student has an ID, name, his list of courses, his grades, and so on. And of course, there will be multiple functions handling multiple tasks. So I need a data structure to store the names of 10,000 students. I need another data structure to store the IDs. If we use two separate lists, we have to make sure that the indices are consistent, which means the name at index 0 and the ID at index 0 are or belong to the same student. Otherwise, we could have also used a dictionary where the ID is the key and the name is the value. And we also need data structures to store the courses of individual students. For this student, he has a list of courses for all the semesters, all the courses he took in all the semesters, and another data structure to store grades for all the 10,000 students. Okay, so each data structure will be storing information for all the 10,000 students, and there will be functions, multiple functions to perform multiple tasks. Now, storing all the information of 10,000 students in one place would result in a very clumsy or a cumbersome situation. Okay, so if we want to focus on one particular student, we have to be dealing with all the information. Okay, for example, if you have to remove or update a name of one student, let's say we have to remove one student, so we have to remove the details of this particular student from all the data structures. Okay, if there is a mistake, there will be a huge blunder. Is there any way, the question is there any way to separate each student with his or her details? Something like this. How about we have 10,000 containers, each container storing the information of one individual student. For example, let's say this is container 1. This container 1 holds the name of student S1, ID, his courses, grades, and the functions required to perform the tasks. This is container 2, and this container will be storing the information of another student. This way, there will be 10,000 containers storing information of students individually, so that when we want to work with one student, we can only focus on one container at a time. Okay, so if we want to make changes over here, we do not have to worry about the rest of the containers. And the answer to this is objects and classes. So we have objects and classes. Now, what are objects and classes? Now, if we look carefully, all these containers store the same pieces of information, okay? And they are names, IDs, courses, and grades. Plus, all these containers contain the same functions performing the same tasks. Now, what about we create a design of all the data structures and the functions we need, and from this one design, we make 10,000 containers. So this is a single design, and using this design, we create the 10,000 containers where we will actually store the information. So this design, so we can think of this as a blueprint of some building. And using the blueprint, we create, let's say, three structures. Using the design, we create three buildings, and these buildings are physical structures where people can live. But people cannot live here because this is a design on a piece of paper. Okay, so these are physical structures where people can live or people can use. So we can use the exact same concept over here. So we cannot store information in this design. Rather, we will use this design to create 10,000 physical containers where we will actually store the information. Okay, and these containers will have no connection between them. Just like here, these buildings are completely individual. If I paint this building white, doesn't mean that these buildings will also be painted white. Okay, so this is white is information only belonging to the color property of this building. The color property of these two buildings, of course, will be separate. So this concept is object-oriented programming, where the design is the class and these containers are the object.